What is up, guys? Have some breaking news. Just did a video earlier today about the Cowboys locker room imploding. If you guys haven't watched that, go check it out. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, share content so you can share the solid, true, hard, uncut, no apologies facts to everybody else you know when they start talking bullshit. But shortly after I finished recording today's video earlier, we had some breaking news in the world of the NBA. The Miami Heat have just traded Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick have traded Kyle Lowry to the Hornets for Terry Rozier and a first-round pick. So, huge move for Miami. One, they got a great player. Two, they got Charlotte to give them a first-round pick on top of it. Miami really clubbed Charlotte over the head and got a steal in this trade to come away with a pick and Rozier. Great deal. Great job by Pat Riley and the rest of the crew over there. But let's talk about the trade a little bit here. So when we really dig into this and look at Rozier on Miami, the big thing that comes to mind is the fact that he's a perfect culture fit for the Heat. It's a huge benefit for Miami culture fit wise. He's a guy that really fits in with Butler and Bam. Jaquez Jr., a new up-and-coming star in this league. Once again, you guys know I've given Nick Wright from First Thing First a few shout-outs before. He said, everybody look out, the steal of this draft is Jaime Jaquez Jr. He was absolutely right. The kid is an absolute walking bucket, and he plays on both ends of the floor. He's great defensively. He's great offensively. He is going to be a huge fundamental piece for Miami moving forward. He's been an awesome culture fit. Tyler Hero has come back with a vengeance this year. He's looking really good. And the big thing for Miami over the course of the years, and even despite the fact that they've just, with that culture, just dominated on sheer will and just grit to get through series after series and dominate teams that they had no business beating. On paper, it's something. And Eric Spoelstra is a fantastic coach. I think he's clearly at this point the best coach in the NBA. I really don't think it's arguable anymore after the last few seasons and the rosters and the rosters that he's been able to drag to the finals. I really don't think there's a whole lot of argument left for who the best coach in the NBA is. It's clearly Eric Spoelstra. And Rozier fits a lot of things that Miami needed. Like I said, one, he's just a tough, gritty player, really nice culture fit. And on the other side, he plays both ends of the floor, which is big in Miami. So nice fit there. But he is a lot of what Kyle Lowry is. He's kind of, in a sense, in some aspects, a younger version of Kyle Lowry, a very smart, heady player. We saw Kyle make a lot of, smart heads-up plays, taking charges, and that's kind of how Rozier is. He's a very smart heads-up defender, can make a lot of those little crucial plays that you need people to make at times with their head, and that's going to be big for Miami. The other biggest thing, which is the monumental part of this trade for me, is we were all talking about, we did videos about it on this channel, is Damian Lillard going to Miami. That would have been huge for Miami, and the reason that it would have been huge is Miami needed more scoring. Jimmy has nights where he goes off, but Jimmy is not a consistent scorer. And Jimmy just throughout, because Miami is so reliant on him on both ends of the floor, because he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, and then at times, obviously, he goes off in the offensive end, especially in the playoff Jimmy. It's a real thing. But because of those things, by the time we saw last year Miami got to the finals and even late in the Boston series, the usage rate on Jimmy was so high, he was spent. He was toasted. Jimmy had nothing left to give. He had nothing left in the tank. It started really affecting his offensive game. And even when Jimmy's playing well offensively, throughout times in the season and really in the playoffs, we saw it. I mean, Miami will just go on stretches where they can't score the basketball. They will just go, without Tyler Hero and some of these guys there, they just go on these stretches for 8-9 minutes where they can't score and their offense just completely comes to a standstill and breaks down. Well, Terry Rozier fixes that for Miami to some extent. Rozier averages 23 a game. He is going to be another piece that helps Miami not go into that stale, we can't score the basket, we can't score the basketball, we can't get things moving. That is going to be a really, really, really big piece for them, having another offensive weapon to stop their offense from stalling so much at times. That is going to be absolutely crucial for Miami moving forward. And then obviously, like I said, with Tyler Hero coming back, putting up the offensive numbers that he's putting up and doing the things that he's doing, and then adding that secret weapon on offense that has become Jaquez Jr. They've really, really upgraded their offense, where we should not have to see the staleness and the stalling at points of Miami can't get a bucket and Jimmy's exhausted and Bam's having a bad night. There are other options on the offensive end now. There are ways for Miami to score the basketball. They do have outlets that will allow them to score the basketball. So the fact that they got a guy who can score at a clip like Terry Rozier is really, really good, guys. It's a really, really good pickup. Huge breaking news. It completely shifts the power dynamic in the East. And, the mainstream media, we all know that. They sit there and, the Sixers are good and the Bucks are good and Boston's good. You mean the Boston team that lost to a worse Miami team last year? Yes, they are favorites over Miami. And the Sixers team that is worse this year, that never has done anything in the playoffs. Yes, better than Miami. And that's right, that Bucks team that got swept by Miami. Who is now more than likely going to fire their coach. Yes, of course. I'm so tired of the Miami hate. I'm so tired of, they have Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler. They got a bunch of these. I don't care if you guys don't like the names on the back of the jerseys. The reality is Tyler Hero averages over 20 a game. They just added a Terry Rozier who averages over 20 a game. Butler is a fantastic superstar in the playoffs. He just clicks it on. We all know Jimmy Butler's good. Bam Adebayo has taken his game to a new level this year. Jaquez Jr. is fantastic. What a steal for them. And on top of that, you have what I believe is the best spot-up three-point shooter in the NBA in Duncan Robinson. I don't care if you guys don't like the names. Miami's good. They've been good. They've been the most successful team in the East over and over and over and over again for years. And everybody always keeps writing them off. And, they're not that good. And, somebody else is going to beat them. And, these are the real favorites. Well, those teams continue to not beat them. All these teams continue to lose to Miami. Miami's the only team that you can sit there and watch who just wins and wins and wins. Any team who had the success, if there was a Durant or a LeBron or any of these guys on this roster, a Morant, anybody that we like in the mainstream media, anybody that they like was on this Miami team, any big name that they like, we would every year be talking about what a favorite they are to win their conference, what a threat they are to win their conference because of previous history. You say, well, you can't write them off. They just did it last year. But Miami, it's the world against Miami. And, they did it last year, but that's irrelevant. They're not a real contender. And then they win again. And then it's, they've done it 2 years. They're irrelevant. Then they do it again. All right, they've done it for 3 years. Well, that's irrelevant. It's the only team that can have continued repeated success and not only continue repeated success, but continue repeated success at a higher clip than anybody else in the Eastern Conference, and still get written off every year as a flash in the pan team that's not a real contender, that doesn't have anybody who can compete with the big boys, even though they beat those quote unquote big boys every year. But nevertheless, guys, Terry Rozier to this roster is going to be a huge offensive bonus for Miami. It's a great culture fit. Good for Rozier, good for Miami. Miami absolutely won the trade, made a steal of a deal on this trade to get Rozier plus a first-round pick for Kyle Lowry. Awesome deal for Miami. Came away smelling like a rose, and the offensive upgrade here that's going to continue to add more and more scoring pieces for Miami is really going to pay dividends down the line here. And we'll see if, once again, the Heat team that isn't for real, with all the players that aren't really that good, are going to go smack all the boys that are real contenders again this year. And I think Terry Rozier is going to end up being a huge part of that. So shout out to Spoelstra, Pat Riley, the Heat organization. Great pickup. Way to win the trade. And congratulations, Terry Rozier. Welcome to Miami, boy. Let's go. Another title, because, you never know. You could win, you could lose, but we all know one thing. Miami's always going to be in the dance, whether people like to pretend like they're not. They're always in the dance. Welcome, Terry. Let's go. Let's get it done. See you boys in the postseason, knocking off the real contenders. Peace out.